When you lose your job this year, here's 5 whiskeys that you could afford. They're under $35.
You already know what I'm going to say. One of the best pound-for-pound whiskeys on the face of the planet that is $35 or less is Old Overholt 114. If you're still holding out, if you've seen this on the shelves in Ohio and you're like, it's ugly as sin, you're not wrong. But you are wrong for not buying it because it is fantastic. I liken this flavor profile to a Jack Daniel's Tennessee Taster, and I actually prefer this over a Jack Daniel's Tennessee Taster rye.
That is a bold statement.
There's complexity, there's oak, there's that nice rye flavor that isn't so minty that it turns you off, but has some of those more fruity Sagamore type notes in it, even though it's not Sagamore. And then you have sort of like this Tennessee rye confliction.
Yeah, this bitch is ugly. That's okay, because they were born in Pennsylvania. That's just what they look like. It is a good rye. You get a little bit of a spice, a little bit of a mellow your jello out, but delicious nonetheless.
That's probably not a shock to anybody. I have been in love with Old Overholt 114 for a long time. Kira, what is one of your favorites under $35?
1792, cause it's 1792.
Shelf turns.
Popping tops, ADHD's on my butt tonight. Need my 5 for my P. What's up, what's up?
So good. It's so delicious. I love it. The bottle, though, looks like a bishop back in the day with, who's that guy who had 1 million wives and he killed them all?
What? David from the Bible?
No. Did he do that?
I don't know.
Fucking Bible.
I panicked.
This looks like the bishop to Henry VIII and said, hey, get this lady pregnant. Get this one pregnant. Oh, you don't want that one? I will kill that one. Here you go. But you know what? It tastes much better than how it acts, okay? There's always a softer side inside of those bitches. If you want a good taste, chop that head off just like he did to, one of the couple of his wives. Okay, the notes are just what you would describe yourself when you open up your spice drawer to make a spice cake or some cookies or anything like that. It tastes like that. And then I get a ton of nutmeg on the back end with a little bit of white pepper. I wish I had some caramel, wish I had some marshmallow, but you know what? Can't all be winners. It's $35.
Moving on to something that we have not talked about in a very, very long time, although last time I saw it, it's still sub $30 and I think is absolutely fantastic.
Where did you see this at?
Online.
Okay.
Same place I see naked ladies. I see this. This is very Old Barton 100 proof. It used to have the 6-year age statement on it. This bottle doesn't, but this is a fantastic banger. This is Barton, right? So 1792. They also make very Old Barton. Mm-hmm. They do a great job of making sure that their bourbons are well aged. Even if they remove the age statement from them, this is still primarily believed to be 5- and 6-year-old bourbons.
Okay.
But this is a little bit cheaper actually than 1792 in most places, and a little bit of a higher proof point at 100. That is Kentucky bourbon through and through. You have the Kentucky nut that you're looking for, but not overly dominant on the nut. You have some of that caramel in there. You have a little bit of age in there.
The finish is a dark chocolate ganache.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Because it's so bitter, but it's rich. Mm-hmm. I like that. Now I'm going to compare it to the 1792.
Prove it.
1792 has just more fruit flavors to it now. So it's like a fruity, very Old Barton. This is Evan Williams Balden Bond. This will give you so much flavor in your mouth.
Are you ever going to stop being in love with Evan Williams Balden Bond?
Why would I? It's done nothing wrong.
So the one thing I will always give Evan Williams Balden Bond credit for is on its own, yeah, it's okay. And you already know how I feel about it. I think there's a lot of low-end Heaven Hill products that are better than Evan Williams Balden Bond, things that I prefer. What Evan Williams Balden Bond does, though, is it does have this sneaky layer of complexity in it. And if it's sitting dead middle of a blind of other much higher, much more renowned whiskeys that are all around the same proof point, Evan Williams Balden Bond will play tricks on you. It has the ability to be jack of all trades, master of none. And so depending on how you're tasting through and what it's up against, it can fool even the most discerning palates. Not a huge fan of it, but I will give it credit for that. Last but certainly not least, on our list of $35 or less bourbons and whiskeys that we truly enjoy, that we think are well worth the money, that we're recommending that you buy, is a little unknown bottle that we've talked about once or twice before. It's Heing Station Small Batch 100 proof. This is actually MGP distillate. It's a extremely high rye, 52% corn, 44% rye, 4% malted barley, aged at least 4 years in the great state of Tennessee. That's where it's been aging. And this thing is $39.99.
So I guess it's more than...
Whoops.
Do you know your numbers? Did you ever watch Sesame Street?
Looks like I really had sex with the pooch on this one. Is that how the phrase goes?
You had sex with the dog. That's what it's called.
Looks like I had sex with a dog on this one.
Sex the dog up. Now he's screwed.
Okay. Slight shift here on the final bottle. This one is not $35 or less.
But you know what? We don't have to teach you numbers.
Why not? Why don't we want to teach them numbers?
They're already... You should already know how numbers work.
Yeah, this is on you. It's not on me.
It does smell like an old house in Greenfield Village of Dearborn, Michigan.
You know what?
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna steal one of your notes, which is right along that same vein.
Okay.
This is like walking into a warm rick house and just smelling the warm rick house. All the different woody, dusty notes around you, where you're still getting those vapors of bourbon and whiskey in there.
But what about it kind of smells like an old rick house without any of the barrels in it.
No,
It's left over.
My rick house has barrels in it.
Yeah, but not the smell.
My nose says there's barrels in it. Your nose says there's no barrels in it. How many empty rick houses have you walked into?
12.
Empty rick houses.
Yeah.
Used to be a rick house.
Well, I thought there was whiskey there. People keep tricking me.
I don't know why I'm not sipping this whiskey far more often than I am. That is stupid good.
To me, almost tastes like a super dark red wine, but it's a splash, and then it opens up. Okay, it's like a Three Musketeer if a Three Musketeer had dark chocolate around it, not the milk chocolate. Yeah.
There's a nutty element to that red wine, and it's not like a red wine finish. It's so subtle.
What about a red velvet cake taste?
Maybe.
A little mocha cafe.
It's not like a red wine finish. It's like an essence of red wine, like a breath of it in there. And I think that's more a note to its complexity and its depth than it is actually to red wine. But it reminds me of that deep note. And then from there, plenty of char, plenty of dark oaky notes in there, a little bit of sweetness to go along with that red wine and that nut forward aspect of it. But and I would say this, probably some of what's playing with us right now is the fact that it is such a high rye, but that high rye note is not dominant.
No, I'm surprised because I don't taste on a rye. Correctamungo.
It's almost bready in a way where you know that there's rye in it, but it's more of an essence than it is this spicy thing that's just hitting your palate. It's sort of buried in this really complex, beautiful ballet of just naked chicks dancing on a stage.
Yeah, because everyone wants to see that.
Trim, busty, real flexible.
Yeah.
All brunettes, no blondes.
I can't complain about that.
But that's what this tastes like. The last time I saw one of those.
Wow, when was that?
Last week. So